early morning and welcome in everybody. Before we get into this morning's live, and it's going to be a spectacular one because we got our signal from Ethereum. And let me just tell you, I'm all hands on deck here. And when I tell you my portfolio, I'm not going to tell you the amount of tokens I hold, but I'm going to tell you the tokens I hold, the asset I hold, the direction I'm going. You don't have to ask yourself twice. Obviously, I have XRP and XRP healthcare, so let's get out of that phase. And I'll go into what I did on these drops after I got my confirmation I was looking for. It pains me that DGB's wallet did what it did to me. I must be honest. It just pains me and it's gut-wrenching to me. But, you know, until they figure that out, I have to go a different direction unless it comes on BITUNIX. So that is not part of what we'll discuss today. I mean, I'll look over, but that is not actually part of my portfolio. That's the most painful missing part of the portfolio, but until they rectify what needs to be rectified, I'm kind of caught in the dick right now. So, anyhow, we got a nice signal, in my opinion, from Ethereum. I put it down in the Telegram earlier and said, if we break out of this, we're bullish. That little channel we were in, a lot were saying head and shoulders, but we never filled out the initial first big target at almost 4,000. And it seems kind of odd not even to just come up and double top here. So that was my signal right there. Once it broke that resistance, game on. Game on. I'm excited to go over what I'm holding. I'll wait a little bit to go over it. But super excited. Super stoked. I put out before exactly what I would be targeting on the drop. And it's exactly what I was targeting on the drop. So we'll see how this plays out. I'm really, really excited because if I say I overweighted in band a little bit compared to what I thought I was going to do, it's a good statement, I suppose. But going down the list here a little bit, knowing that Theta just did what they did, I thought, you know, there's an important possibility here as well with certain things. So we'll just discuss a lot of things here, folks, because we got a lot of stuff going on here this morning. Beautiful patterns built around the border. We came down to the daily support, and essentially we opened up the door for something spectacular here if it plays out. Now, is Ethereum faking us out? Is it going to do something more? That is a discussion we'll have today to try to figure out just that. Just that. So as we go, man, did it give us an opportunity, guys. Did it give us an opportunity? And there's some I'm holding that you'd be like, holy crap, he actually bought it. And one in particular that might meet the eye on this list, and it might make Shane happy because I told him when the time was right, in my opinion, I would strike for those 100,000 tokens of it. Oh shit, I'm not supposed to say how many. Whoops. Well, now you know that one. But we'll go over it one step at a time. I want to go over the comments. I want to explain my thought process of what's going on. Axelar with a quick jump up of 7.7%. It has ties to Ripple. Now we'll have to take a look at that because it jumped 7.7 if you're looking to get into that under 40 cents. It did come down nicely. It's just trying to consolidate. But yeah, there's so many opportunities that we're able to be taken advantage of. And in this drop, sorry, I'm looking at my phone because I'm trying to make sure that this shared. I know some of you are here, but I didn't get an alert on my YouTube. How many of you got an alert real quick? Just out of curiosity, because I did not receive an alert, and it's kind of make me wonder if I should just put out a whole, and I'm not just going to wonder, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to put out an alert myself is what I'm going to end up doing. But we'll see if this is a real signal. If Ethereum is trying to give us some false hope. But as of right now, Ethereum is popping out of that consolidation zone. And if it actually plays through here, could be something important. We should at least come up here and it would give a nice little bounce for the alt tokens. Now, if it's a fake out and this isn't a big W reversal like it looks like to me on top of that channel, well, then we might have to make some decisions here later on today again and see if it's going to be a bigger drop. But for now, I really feel good about what happened with Ethereum just now. And there's opportunity to be had. That's a signal. That was my signal. If Ethereum popped out of this channel, that's a signal. Bitcoin really should be going out of this descending formation. Now that it's holding these areas and it back tested 116, we really should have gone up before it completes to go even attempt 113. Like we said yesterday, 124 should hit. especially holding these back tests. So imagine Ethereum's popping out, and even if Bitcoin only goes up $5,000, that gives a lot of credence for the altcoins here. So we'll see what happens here, but I'm very stoked about what I did. And I'll get into it in a minute, but I need to share this real quick with the audience, just in case they're not getting it, because I did not receive an alert that I was live. And I got my 32-inch screen right next to me, the touch screen, that runs the Android, and I can have my trading view right here so I can see what's going on. And if it doesn't show me, there's a pretty strong possibility that it's not showing everybody else. Ooh, Julie got one, so that's a good thing. Okay, so maybe it's showing some people. I'm just going to share it to all channel members, just in case. So here we go. Yeah, no alert from some saying they got it. So here's what I did. Good, bad, ugly, and different. I have obviously VeChain with all of you. We're doing something. I'm teaching you a positional play and how to do things no matter what. So stay the course. VeChain, I dedicated my portfolio to a group setting before the drop so that we could play it just properly. And so far we have, if you stayed in. So, you know I have XRP and XRP Healthcare. I have Dent. I have Band. I have Axelar. I have Zill. I have Data. I have Alchemy Pay. And I have XCN on this page. Theta, the position didn't fill because it missed out by marginal, and now I'm kicking myself because I had it so precise and somehow I didn't fill it and I put it too low, but it shouldn't have. And then I missed it when I put it, yeah, when it first came through here. I think I had it down farther, and I'm not exactly sure why, what I was looking at. I think I was coming for the daily test on the 200. That's exactly what I was doing, and I overlooked the daily like an idiot because I had already marked it out at the 20 crossing the 50. I mean the 100 to test it there, but you know, it is what it is. So for now, I'm going to take this off of my watch list. So, because I want everybody to know my positioning, and these are not short-term positioning. These are going to be some stellar positioning for a little bit of time. So that's that. And then for everybody asking me questions about when I was going to get into certain things, I bought into Algo. I have IOTA. I have HBAR. I have XDC very heavily weighted. And IOTA for that matter. I do not have XLM, which I ended up going overweight in XDC, but I'm kicking myself because I had it sitting right where I wanted. And then I ended up buying what I was going to buy in XLM. And instead of sitting like just at 100,000 XDC, I decided to bump it up some. I don't know where it ended up, but it's like north of 160,000 or something tokens. But I definitely could have went in the XLM direction and just had the XRP, XLM, and XDC. But for some reason, I just feel like I want more. Well, again, I accidentally said how many. But I want more in XDC because of the potential I see there. So whether it's right or wrong, who knows? So that's the directional right now. But yeah, for the big ones, I'm happy to have the HBAR back, the IOTA back, the Algo, the three big guys with me, the XDC, you know, the ones that I truly believe in, like that with the IoT and ISO. And then also, obviously, VeChain with the IoT is magnificently big. But also understanding what that band, what they offer, understanding Alchemy Pay is huge. XCN seems to have a magnificent setup that I said if it came down here, I would try to attempt it. Who knows if it's going to cost me, but at the end of the day, it was it's like a $1,630 purchase. So at the end of the day with my portfolio, I'm going to let that roll. I told Shane I would, and I did exactly what I said I would once I got to the point I wanted. But, so that's what I did. Whether it pans out or not, who knows? It's just those were the positional plays. Those were what I wanted to be in. And I was looking for that retest in the daily to make it happen. A lot of people ask me, when are you going to get into HBAR and all this other stuff? It was just on the back test here. I made it very clear yesterday. I was almost ready to get into it, but I was waiting for the back test. I got into it on the back test here. I'm very happy with my positional plays. The actual amount it cost to get in, I feel like I stole. I honestly feel like I just stole from the market, and it feels good. And I think the community might feel that way too, because we got out of harm's way right before it happened. And now we're back in before it, like the signal, It was such an easy signal too, and Ethereum powered it. And I didn't want to say anything until I came back because I want everybody to make their own decisions based on if you're watching and you can see, you know, my areas of concern and where I want them to be bought. So when you knew my positional power plays too, and every single token I was looking at, and I didn't leave anything on the table this time. I gave it to you guys all straight to the point, nothing else. And in data, I also have a little bit more confidence than most because I think it's about to have some kind of magnificent play here. So again, I bought a decent amount of data as well. So, you know, I'm very happy with some of the things I decided to do. I was just making sure on this, exactly what it is so that I don't overspeak. Oh, it's spectacular. Like sometimes when things happen, you get to take a step back, and that's what happened a couple days ago. And we all took a step back and we just said, okay, where's the exact positioning we're going to buy all of these? And once they came down there, that's the positioning I bought them. You know, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just, hey, that's what we seen. Julie, oh, I got to grab a water, everybody. I'll be right back. Julie's working on a project. Crocheting. Oh, I forgot I bought two of these, Julie. He was not expecting that. He was playing with another card. I forgot. Did they come with the bubbles?
Yeah, I put them by your desk.
They got the bubbles?
I put them by your chair.
Okay, the one we like?
Yeah.
Was it the right one? Same one? Okay. Well, that'll be fun later. Okay. So, some people are saying moon back on. We can't 100% say that, but remember what I said, in order for this to move up a couple days ago, we had to back test the daily time frame before that greater move for the golden cross. Ladies and gentlemen, we have back tested that now with these magnificent big W reversals, inverse patterns, and I think we're good to go here unless we get some kind of crazy sell-off. This was the signal I was looking for in the back test to get into some of them again that I had sold out on the pushes up. You know, and this is what I was looking for. And fortunately, instead of looking like a jackass, you know, we looked like we knew what we were talking about in the community. And now we are, I haven't been this well positioned since January when I sold out, when we had that big, incredible run up to the top. Obviously not XRP and XRP Healthcare, and we did some other things along the way. You get the picture. When I say I sell and buy, that has nothing to do with XRP or XRP Healthcare because those will never be touched. I've said this since 2023. They're just going to sit there. That what's in the XRP Healthcare wallet is never going to move. And Julie's Doge. Yes, we also have Doge. I'm sorry. I don't know why that's not on the long-term list. I always forget because Julie's the one who holds on to that. She's the gatekeeper of Doge. She's had it since on this run when we bought it back. We bought it with XRP at 34 cents. She's had it since 5.2 cents. I sent it to her at 9.1 cents because Robinhood wouldn't let me send it to her with my... They wouldn't let you receive things until much later on. But she bought it at 0.0000. She had like $75 in her account and it went over $1,000. Sold it out on Saturday Night Live. And then waited. I bought it with my portfolio after. Got her many, many more tokens than she had. Because she did good. She sold out the $1,000, got to buy it back. And that ended up turning into 10,000 plus tokens, and she's been sitting on them, and now that's appreciated from 500 and something. So I don't even know where Doge is at right now. Let's see. To over $2,400 now. So she's almost 5x'd it since we rebought it back. Even from when I sent it in her portfolio, she's almost 3x'd it, which is nice. I know she likes seeing that. So anyhow, let's continue on. So yeah, I wanted to go through that right now, but we still need Ethereum to confirm this, obviously. But this is what you would want. This is what we wanted to see today. This is exactly what we wanted to see today. It formed a beautiful, and that back test overnight while we were all sleeping was nothing short of spectacular. Because every single token after the drop, they all came back down and double bottom. That's why I didn't buy it initially. I always wait for the double tap. You know, I always wait for that double tap reversal confirmation. So let me go through some of the comments. A lot of people here. If you appreciate my time, please consider joining Tom's Army. If for anything else, I got you out in front of that 10-15% drop across the board, not 24 hours before. And I positioned you perfectly because I targeted it on every single one of these assets before that drop happened. And where did I target it? Exactly where they dropped down to. So show a little bit of support if you want me to feel some of the love. If not, just hit that like button because then I can share this to more and more people. We can continue to grow the audience. We went back over 45,100 subscribers today, which was nice to see. And if you want to trade with the community of like-minded people, if you are in Tom's Army, or if you're looking to come in, we had to put some measures in place, so you'll have to join Tom's Army. But you can trade with like-minded people. And we do a lot of different things in this community. We have a lot of different things in place, a lot of checks and balances because of spammers and things like that. So we have to do a lot of different things. There's charts, there's help desk, there's a lot security center, there's commodity stuff, there's content for what I do on the links in case you're not being shown, the copy trade setups where we talk about our group trade and we're trying to teach through VeChain how to buy during drops, how to set it up, how to not over panic. It's a whole big thing. General chat, it's great. So there's a lot of different things. I have 4 admins that help me run it. We've got 440 members in there right now. And we had to put the implementation in about a week ago to be in Tom's Army. And if you don't want to stay in, as much as I encourage you to stay in, you don't have to. Join Tom's Army just to get through like a security protocol. And then if you want to, cancel it right away. Because the only way to get that link for Telegram is to be in Tom's Army at least
Hello, gurus. Welcome to another episode.
Okay, Mr. Guru. I like the Guru. But not ready for you right now, Guru. But you go on here and it says exclusively full members of Tom's Army. That's where you got to go because the foe. So that's how you get in. And like I said, if you want to cancel right after, cancel, but at least get that link. And it's helped, but it doesn't get rid of 100% of the imitators. So it just gives us a layer of security. People are trying to imitate me, telling you to send people money or them crypto, and they'll double it or trade it for you. I don't do that. So, you know, if you're trading with me, it's in your portfolio. You're just linked to my VeChain trade. That's it. That's it. That's the only difference. So with that being said, welcome in everybody. What a 24 to 48 hours this has been, huh? Now we have to, for XRP, get back over 328. That's the first big resistance. We've got a nice bounce, though, out of Ethereum at 3.5% right now. And now what we're looking for is not to come up and double top or not, to, you know, we can come up here and theoretically still come up because for the head and shoulders, you've invalidated that right now. You come up much too high. That's not a head and shoulders anymore. That's invalidated and it just looks like another nice healthy consolidation. However, if it were to pull down after coming up, even at right here, maybe a little bit higher, you could now say, well, you know, maybe that is a shoulder. Now we just needed to come up here for a double top. But in any event, that should still bring us close to over $3,800. So we'll have a decision to make, you know, at some point. And then when you watch Bitcoin, it's getting back over here. There's no reason why it shouldn't come up to 124 here. That's why I circled this out like this. That's why these lines are here. As long as we're over this, and we don't break out of this little structure, you know, and I can put it like this, like I've said before. You can put it like this, and you can slightly make this look a little bit different because it technically is. And then you start to see like it's slightly a different formation than, you know, kind of what you're seeing in front of you. So it's a nice consolidation. And if it breaks out, which it's trying, that's how you need to look at it. And if it breaks out, I mean, shortstop should be 124. But in totality, the micro move here is a little bit higher, but I'm still targeting that 124 initially. Obviously, we have to break through the all-time high again. I mean, that's freaking close. About as close as you're going to get, 125 on this. So maybe we should target 124 to 125 on a breakout. And then the ultimate target, which I'm not sure if it can come up there yet without backtesting the overall breakout. But, you know, I've seen stranger things. So if it's meant to be the end of the cycle, it doesn't need to backtest 113. It needed to back test 116 and it did. Just to get a little more power. Actually, it back tested it twice beautifully and formed what looks like a massive reversal there if it holds. So I want to see if we get carryover. And then I want to see after today how the Eurozone reacts. Last night, they did not react kindly. They seen what happened after a little bit of a buy up by the U.S. at night. The Asian market said, the hell with this. We're following suit and dumping. And that's where we got our double bottom, in theory. Or it could have just been the bots turned on to sell so that people wouldn't buy in. But I always encourage to look for that double bottom instead of, unless it's a V-shaped recovery, which you'll know because it's so volatile with a lot of volume that swings in initially. But, you know, so let's see. Nick, I think, is back at work, or was on his way to work before this started. But Nick's a very trusted mod. He's our technical advisor on the Telegram, and he helps out a tremendous amount. John Bugathorpe, welcome in. Crypto Plumber, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty's Autos Crypto News. Says Grand Rising XRP family. Indeed. Indeed. CJ2 Pilot, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. Good morning, John Bugathorpe. Good to see you in here as always. As always. I appreciate everybody having the understanding because I started about 15 minutes late because I was outside playing with my son, with Julie. We were playing in the water with water balloons. And I was not willing to cut that time short, as most of you know. So I put a message in here, and you guys were all very kind and sweet. I appreciate it. Crypto Plumber, welcome in, like I said, and thanks for being in Tom's Army your second month with Dusty House Crypto News. Define Group, thanks for tuning in, being a very trusted mod in here, being a very important admin and my second, like my right-hand man in the Telegram. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. Basically second in command, so... You know, if you have a problem with the Define Group, it's probably not the place for you. Arichi, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Good morning to you and everybody else. Two Ravens, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for the over 1 year with the I Told You, the I Told You So badge. James Dula, good morning as always. Glad to see you in here and continuing to grind it out, my friend. Dan Margina, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And that is my face superimposed on there, and how blessed I am to have you in your first month. That's always so super encouraging to see those month 1 badges. Means the word's still getting out. I love it. Sean Crothers, welcome in, my main man from Maine. Good morning to you, my friend, and thank you for forcing me to look at Dent, because I targeted it nicely on that drop. And if it wasn't for you, I would not have even looked in that direction. I mean, banned. You were banned. Mira was Dent, but for you, banned, Sean. I would have never even looked at it the way I did, but you called it out last year on Turbo, and I'm like, this guy is actually knows a thing or two, especially when he starts dropping a good amount. So I looked into banned, obviously. I bought it on this drop, not because of the 4 hourly, but because of the daily. It back tested here. That's what I wanted. And I said, I'm going to position myself and see what happens, with understanding that if it breaks this, it could come down here. So that's something we would watch for a next layer. But yeah, I got a nice, not as nice as your position, but a nice position to tag along. So it's like I connect my band position, even if I have to go in and out if things are fake outs. I put my band position tied with Sean, and the Dent position tied with Mira. So, and then H-bar tied with Tanya. XDC tied with Define Group along with IOTA because he loves it just as much as I do. You know, and there's so many others I tie with what I love into some other characters in the group, so it makes it like unity in numbers, so to say. And XCN with Shane. Anthony Venegas, welcome in. Good morning, my friend. Israel, welcome in. Crypto, Cooter, and Amanda, thank you both for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. NATO, welcome in. Big Dog, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Ben Graham, thank you for the encouragement, keeping up the good work. Adam, good morning. If Larson is putting all these XRP coins on the exchange, doesn't that mean a large sell is going to happen? Yes. It could. It could. You never know. But generally, when you're loading things onto the exchange and not taking them off, it's a bit of a eye-opener, isn't it? Let's see. Bearded Viking, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And I hope your little one is doing okay this morning with everything. What did you say? Good morning, any members in general. God bless you and every reader of the chart. Amen to that. The Cannabis Podcast, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. I greatly, greatly appreciate that, along with Joseph Euler and Papa Wheelie. Excellent, excellent. And George Athanazev. And Arichi, Crypto Cooter, all of you in Tom's Army for 6 months. What a blessing, or more. Lieberman put 1K into XRP yesterday. Well, I mean, if you were going to take a shot, yesterday would have been a good time because we had that dip. That's for sure. Jesse, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Daniel in his second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News, and another first monther, Terrell Long. Thank you for your first month of support in Tom's Army. That means a lot to me, my friends. Thank you so much. Ben Graham, good morning. Jerry Clark, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years. You heard that right, over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. We've got some history here now, don't we? Some of you I see received the alert. Some of you didn't. Some got both. Some got none. Interesting. Actually, I think some of you got the second alert, but not the first. Use code Savant says XRP to moon. It's possible here. I mean, we're already mooning in a sense. We've come up so far from 34 cents. John Bugathorpe, and also John, I'm sorry, I forgot to say thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Said I actually don't bother with alerts, just check your page frequently. Yeah, that works for sure. And then I also encourage everybody to go into the Telegram because I always share it in the Telegram, my links, before I go live, and any content I put out goes immediately on there. Kryptonian, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Arelli, good morning. Let's see. Jason Clark, welcome in. Got that alert too. I love it. UK Phil, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So bad. Still waiting for that next match in Fortnite. I don't mind this season. I just haven't played it a lot. And that goes for anybody else. You guys, if you play Fortnite, invite me. I'm very lonely on Fortnite now that my nephew left me alone. And the people that play, you know, are friends of my nephew. So they're not 8-year-olds anymore. They're like 13. But, you know, I prefer to play with some adult company too. But by virtue, you know, you get good at something, and then the ones that were really good at it leave before you're that good. So it is what it is. But I'm ISO-20022 on the PlayStation. Hell, even if you're on the computer or on the Xbox, you can still tag along and play. But that's my username. Let's see. Trading with J-Ride, thanks for tuning in and being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Amazing. Mosey here, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Cowabunga, Mario Louise, Willamese, Real Cristo Music, welcome in. AUB, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Man, I'm taking a long time to catch up. True, welcome in. That's what I was saying with Ethereum. I think 3,900 is a good spot to, you know, right around 3,900, or maybe it'll come up to that 3,981. But if we break past there, it would make it go up significantly higher. The target would be around 6,300 out of this pattern formation. So it seems a little early, though, to break out of this. Possibly the apex of this is way out there. 70% of the move would be sometime early next year, probably, or maybe in the middle of the year. But with all the momentum, I mean, you could build out. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for, maybe that area. And then we see if some of the altcoins, they get the potential, especially the ones that have built like this ARM setup, that they could maybe have a 10 to 20% surge here, maybe more. And then they can fall out if they're going to. We'll see, though. Kyle Kupiak, welcome in, Cape Cod. Kyle from Massachusetts, and in Tom's Army for over 1 year. I appreciate that. Kawabunga says, that's funny, my wife crochets as well. She is making a hat for our second kid, my little spawn that's cooking in her belly now. Oh, congratulations, my friend, to both of you. Julie,
Making a baby boy
Julie's very similar to your wife then, because she crochets things all the time. From animals to clothing to everything in between.
Dollies.
Her dolls.
Her dollies I made of you.
The doll of me that is in a box somewhere because we remodeled the house.
It
might be in the closet, right? In the closet in the hallway.
And it looked just like
It looked just like me. It was nice. Let's see. I don't know what a Dara HTS token is. Like Sauce Dex Exchange, that is what I don't know what that is. So I have nothing to say about that. I'll think about that. I'll definitely think about that. True, good morning. Rox, welcome in. Yeah. I agree, Rox. July 30th, because we have don't we have more tariff stuff on August 1st and a lot of other stuff on the 30th? Those are the two. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting 24 hours. Texas Papa, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. Says Tom speaks facts. Well, whether they're facts or not, it's at least what I believe. So I believe it to be factual. Whether it is or not, that's up for everybody else's interpretation. Yeah, AMP actually held very strongly. That's one I forgot to put up here. That's on my phone. I don't know why that never pops up. This is like the third time it's done that. AMP is definitely sitting in a nice... Well, it actually didn't do... But it's been so far behind. I don't know why it never pops up on my tablet, and I always end up forgetting about it until after the live, and I'm like, well, that's great. It didn't even show up. It did come down a little bit, but it tapped. Areas. The problem with AMP right now, until it comes back over... Just like a lot of them, is they're falling out of these uptrends a little bit. But that did form the W. It's back testing the move. Unless this is a rejection and it falls out. You know, so pay attention to that. Just in case. But it looks like we reversed off of the 200. To get some good confirmation, we want to get back. So if you're not in, I would encourage you to wait until it gets over 00425 to get that confirmation. That's what I would do. You know, I would wait for the confirmation. Unless you're buying that daily retest on the 20, I would prefer for it to be back into that pattern consolidation before everybody buys in. Because a rejection here could send it into the multiple zeros. And then something could be wrong with AMP if that happens. So I would prefer you to slow play that because AMP is very volatile. Although, you know, who am I to say? Because if you wait that long, that's, you know, that could be upwards of a 10+% move before it gets there. So... Obviously, do it with discretion, but do it the way you are envisioning yourself to do it. Axelar's had an 8% move if you didn't get into it, like I said. At some point, it's going to come back and back test this movement back over into this consolidation that it was in. So you'll have to make an educated decision here because I would have preferred for you to buy it when it made the bounce down in the daily. If you were going to around the 20-day, you even got an overzealous bounce twice. Now it's kind of like you could put yourself in no man's land just because it's already moved 8%. We don't know what the objective here is so far, but it's severely undervalued. There's no doubt about that. To get 10,000 tokens even after an 8% move under $4,000 is a friggin' steal. It is a steal. There's no doubt about it. Especially with its ties to Ripple and things like that. It's a steal. That's all I'm going to say about that. You'll have to make a decision. But like I said, it's in a tough spot now because of where it's at. We don't know what Ethereum's objective is. If this is just some liquidity from maybe long liquidations that end up happening. You know, it happens sometimes. So, but right now, objectively, the way we would want to start so far this morning. It's all an illusion. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. And also a $5 donation this morning. This is insanely generous. Excellent display of TA, brother. Thank you so much for that. I do my best. I really do. I don't set up stop losses. If I feel the pattern is reversed down, I'll just simply liquidate. I don't worry about the stop loss because in my experience, it'll tap your stop loss and then it'll just go back to where it needs to go where you were thinking. So my objective here is to see first off if, and they're always big ifs, Ethereum, and let's go into the smaller time frames, can stay above now 3,645. So it's going to be some volatility here. And it doesn't come without risk. So that's what I would suggest. And obviously there's a much larger pattern here with Ethereum. But for the micro movement here, we've got to play the micro pattern. The much larger pattern is this. We got to get out over 3,981 for alt season to start. Actually, it might be a little bit lower in the current movement. I'll put it over here just in case. We got to get over 3,935. Nope, got to go a little bit higher because we want to be on the top side of that. 3,968. Yeah, that's better. If we get over $3,968 on Ethereum and hold, we're in alt season. If we get rejected here, we're not in alt season. Is that about as simple as I can make it for all 146 of you watching? If you're looking for alt season based around Ethereum, we must get over and hold 3,698 or 3,968, and it opens up a guaranteed technical move. If it holds, however, it's 100% probability it goes up here if it plays true. Your short target would be a 58% move in Ethereum up to 6,300 roughly. The total move here would be Ethereum up $3,400 up to 7,359, and that's the alt season target for Ethereum. I don't want to hear 15, 30, 80,000. Leave that nonsense to yourself. This would be the actual target played out by technical analysis, which looked like it could have been a rising wedge, which could truly be playing in a rising triangle. It gave us a big opportunity on the drop, and now that it came back up in the fashion it is, it could technically be, we might be in a triangle here, a rising triangle. And if so, we end up at 6,308 or 3 with the overall target of 85.9% move once we get on top of that zone. So that would be your alt season movement by Ethereum. For anybody saying 100 million, 140,000 for Ethereum, 50, 15, 10, I don't know what the hell they're looking at. I'm giving you sound analysis. And then if we get on top of that, then we can start to extend what we can do. But for now, to look anything over that would be like looking at XRP past $5.49 or $6.79 in the best case scenario. It's doing you a disservice. You're just trying to micro it. Remember when it was at 48 for anybody who was in here? I targeted XRP. The first layer was that $1.18, and that was a good sign to start forming to build up to the cup. And then once we broke over $1.34 and held the back test, it was time for XRP to push towards that big run, and we were back in a bull season. Anything up until that point could have been a bear or a bull trap. But once we got on top of it, I said, game on. That didn't mean you weren't buying at 34 or 38 cents when we got the opportunity. That just meant you weren't selling it at $1.34 if you got confirmation. And now you see why. You know, and that's the same thing with Ethereum. We're looking for confirmation to get to 6,303 or ultimately up to 7,364. And we do these forward thinking targets so that we know when it breaks out. And then if we break down and we go farther through, well, then we move the patterns farther. So let's just say it takes a little bit longer until April of 26. That's when we move this short target out. And this would just go over here and then we'd remeasure. You know, and it would go from 3,008 and it would lower the target a little bit. But for the here and now, that's what we're looking at. You know, that's what I'm looking at. And if we move this over, maybe it's a little higher, maybe it's a little lower. But I like, you know, that's 6,303. So that's how I would say to look at that. So, you know, if you're going to trade, at least have some kind of forward thinking. And yeah, in the daily, it looks weird. And the 4 hourly, it gets a little clearer. The short term, 3 hourly, you can see what it's breaking out. And right now it's trying to engulf in the 3 hourly. But I would look at the 2 hourly, you know, as well. But they're different candle structures. Right now, the 3 hourly is the most important because it's showing you that last 3 hour candle into this next candle, how it looks from a continuation standpoint. You can't get that in any other candle, I don't believe, right now. 4 hourly still got 23 minutes to show the same kind of thing. So, you know, we're just trying to see if this is a overzealous pop out. If not, this is going to be a nice movement. And it really should push us. If this isn't a fake out or a rejection at 39, it should push us over that 4,000 level for a minute. Or at least up to that 3,970 area. So that's where I'd be looking for, rejection or not. Assuming this plays true. If it doesn't, we'll know very quickly. And we're just going to say, well, it's another one of those manipulated structures. Unfortunately, we thought we were getting in at the best time, you know, for a rebound. And it didn't pan out. And now we're going to have to do this rinse, repeat. Ethereum breaks down. Now all of a sudden the alt tokens, if they're part of your bag, but you're looking for better opportunity, now all of a sudden you got to start to do that routine again. And it's almost like a never-ending cycle until it isn't. You know, until you find the right time. But right now, like a lot of them, like data, long-term breakouts, on consolidation, 70% of the move, back tested perfectly this 1.7 area. And now it's more of a, can this follow through now? Can this follow through? Or are we really meant to reset this pattern back to the uptrend? And if that's the case, this breaks through and then you might find yourself back at 136. But this was a very bullish consolidation that it tried to break out of, in my opinion, and that it's still attempting to back test. So we'll see, but if it holds, we have a technical target up of 0.24. So if this holds this back test here, it can consolidate through a little bit, you know, back here. Let's just say it holds here a little bit farther down. That's a 47% surge you're going to be looking at on that potential breakout. Short term, you're going to look at a resistance at 38, but that's the technical target here, so we're going to stick to it if it holds. So I would like to believe Axelar 2 coming up 7-8% real quick is a good outlier. But you can never be sure until you are. Let's see. Let me catch it. I got to skip down a little bit, guys. We're 40 minutes in, and I want to go to the... I'm going to go down to the super chat, and then we'll start back on from there. Joseph Euler, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor, that is unbelievably generous, is all I'm going to say. Being in Tom's Army for that amount of time and sending a super chat today, that's extraordinarily generous. Thank you as always, Tom. You said you are welcome, and I appreciate you being here as always. 1970 Legend, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XRP Meteor, the defending champion in the house with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Couldn't even let me have 1 full year of being the champion. They had to take it the very next year. At least, And then people will tell me, hey, you beat them. That's because they wanted us to beat them. They didn't want to play. Or I'm telling you, I'm convinced. I know I keep telling you this 1970 Legend, but I know we didn't actually beat you. I know that Ryan Day went into the locker room and said, listen, guys, we're going to take it up the ass right now because we're not playing Oregon in the Big Ten Championship because we're going to roll them. But now they're going to know our strategy, and then they might beat us in the college football playoff. So they said, we're going to have to take one against Michigan. Would you rather lose to Michigan or win the national champion, or beat Michigan or not win the national championship? I'm convinced. I'm convinced the way the game went, the way it looked, just to play, it was not Ohio State. So I'll take it, but I also know that that was their setup to win a title. And look how XRP's 2-2-2. I'm not lying. That's what happened. I know it is. And I know you're laughing at me, 1970 Legend, because I keep saying this. But when you want to talk about the all-time strategy, oh, it is going to be painful because you haven't beat us in, like, what, 2,000 days? So I can at least rub it in. Rub your nose in it, but you've also won a national championship. So how painful was it really? It might be painful. You can't say an M. How do you say mom? Can you spell mom out on when you play Michigan? Happy O Day. Small joke. Anyhow, right now we're doing what I want it to do, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing what we want it to do. But True said I used to preach stop losses until I got wise to exchanges having bots that seek out stop losses. Now I only set them in the green before I go to sleep. Yep. Exactly. Because if you're going to take profit or you want to be in, especially if you know it's going to be volatile overnight, assuming you're in the green, you can always rebuy it back in the morning with a little bit of extra profit or a little bit of extra money. I love it. Oxygen. I like it. ATT XRP future. And by the way, everybody asking how my son was doing today. He's actually doing very well. We went outside, we played, he woke up good, and he's right here.
These are happy sounds.
These are happy. He's nonverbal, but he makes his own distinct sounds. Tango, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 3 months with the XRP Meteor. And this is not my live for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. All this is I don't do really updates anymore in the morning. I decide to come on and talk to all of you for an hour. 45 minutes to an hour. And I find it a better setup than coming here and doing a 10 to 20 minute update. Can I ask your opinion? Do you guys like it better when I do these lives like this and then still do the live at night, or were you more appreciative of the 10 to 20 minute update? Because I do these short on the way to the gym now. So, and I think that just sets up better. So, What? Hulk Hogan just died? No way.
No.
No, I love Hulk Hogan. There's no way. Did he really?
So you got Ozzy. That's the third one, isn't that?
Oh, that's going to be heartbreaking. I love Hulk Hogan. I don't care what everybody says about him. That's sad. He was my favorite wrestler. Well, he was the second one. One of mine died when I was a kid, my favorite one. Hulk Hogan. I just want to make
Age of 71.
He died?
It says TMZ.
What does
4
it say?
minutes ago. It was go down a little bit.
Oh no!
See?
Oh,
Maybe I'll take tea with
that's the trifecta. You know what happened? His face. I knew it.
Was he a part of the bad stuff too?
I knew it was gonna happen because remember when he went on Netflix and all the fans booed him when he had the opening for WWE. I don't watch it anymore, but I seen it and it was horrible. He went out there and everybody booed him. His star died, so they killed him. That's what happens when you sell your soul for fame. That's why people have got to understand what goes on behind the scenes. His own fans killed him, no offense. His own fans that betrayed him killed him. That's such a shame. Think about Ozzy. He couldn't perform anymore because of what was going on, and he said, "This is it." Yeah, and Malcolm Jamal, Theo from the Cosby Show, he also passed away in a drowning incident, and he looked like a very in shape and healthy guy to me at, what was he, 52, I think it said. That's sad. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. I feel great sadness for him that he didn't get to see what people. Oh man.
Daddy, I'm gonna take him outside.
Yep. Sorry, but I actually really liked Hulk Hogan, and I thought he was very undervalued. And I'll go back out with you too in a couple minutes, okay? And then the way he used to wrestle in Japan, he was actually a very good technical wrestler, but because of the way they sold him as with Hulkamania and stuff, he didn't do the technical wrestling. The guy was very talented. Go back to some of his tapes in Japan. He got trained by one of the most famous teachers you could be taught in wrestling. Oh, man. I knew it, too. Right when he got booed, I'm like, his star died. And once the star dies, they take you out. He may not actually be dead in real life, which is the silver lining here. The silver lining is here, he's probably not actually dead. They probably were just done with and retired his character, finally. Hopefully. Now, I think right now, everybody's fine because it happens in the trifecta. But I don't really want to say more, but I know I'm allowed to talk certain lines like this, so I'm not stepping up my toes. I know the terms of services very well. That hurts for some reason. Well, for many reasons. And I still watched interviews up until a couple weeks ago with Hulk Hogan. Yes, it did. Very badly, Crypto Cooter. Shane, I don't know if you were in here, but I did hold my word with you. And if it breaks down, I can always, buy the lower positioning. But I waited for the touch in the daily. And I took a shot here, at least, not AMP, where the hell are we at? XCN, for at least a moment. But if it pans out or if this weekly reversal goes down, obviously I reserve the right to get rid of it. But I tried to take a shot in this area saying that it was an overzealous drop down. So far it's working out, but I still need it to come back up to 1.7. It was less than a $1,700 buy. So even on a 10% drop, it's only $170. But I wanted to at least take a shot on what could be a short-term inverse left shoulder, inverse head, the formation of an inverse right shoulder, possibly in the micro. Here, if this ends up panning out and reverses, you'll see another shoulder. So I took a shot, especially, you know, you could say we're elongated rounding, descending consolidation we're trying to break out of. So we'll see. We'll see what truly ends up happening. But yeah, that's sad news. It's like one after another after another. You're hearing it. Bam, bam, bam. There goes our childhood. But that's why I say don't take anything for granted, man. And don't sell yourself out. Look at all the times I said I've been approached by the wrong people. Not in person, but I could escalate to that if I wanted it. But they're offering these ridiculous amounts to basically sell. I mean, once you have some kind of light, they try to drain you of it. And then once you are, it's over. So that's why the bottom line can't be about $1. Once it becomes about $1 or fame, it's over. You've already lost. Remember, when you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil. And that means the more resources, the more reach, the more opportunity, the more wealth. There's more opportunity to turn to the dark side. That wealth or that positive or that abundant side of you was created by our Lord and Savior. The side that becomes greed, becomes, you know, the worst thing you can do is want something somebody else has without being willing to figure out how to do the work to get it yourself. Assuming they weren't trust fund kids and things like that. But still, you shouldn't crave that or be saddened or be like, this isn't fair. They've missed out on a big important step in life. Humbleness, especially, or knowing what it's like to be at your end's wits and not have a single dollar to your name and have to struggle, really struggle, and go to work without $1 in your name and wait 2 weeks for a paycheck, you know, and try to figure it out. The old beans and rice mentality. We can't afford shit except this beans and rice. With my mom's house, eggs, potatoes, bread, peanut butter. Your 4 basics. Peanut butter sandwiches. You could have potatoes. We can have eggs. We can make toast. And we did it on routine until we didn't. So, you know, that's the struggle is real. And when you learn from it, and then like in my adult life, I started out with nothing, got injured right away when I was 23 with a broken back. So I literally, when I met Julie and we moved in together, and I was 29 when we moved in together. My 30th birthday was like 3 days after we moved in. And hell, it might have even been like the day we moved in. No, the day before. But anyhow, the point is, we used to shop at the dollar store to eat. We had like $10 to feed a family of, well, me, her, and the 2 kids. So what would happen is we'd buy these. I would try to buy things that weren't as bad, but they ended up finding their way at the dollar store in the frozen section where she was at, the Dollar Tree to be exact. And we would buy, and I know this isn't anything to do with crypto, but this is a journey, folks. That's why this means so much to me. So the more you know about me, the more you know you're in good hands. Like, I'm not trying to take from anybody. Some people call me the Robin Hood, and I don't necessarily know if that, because I'm not trying to steal from the rich. I'm just trying to take from the crumbs they give us. I'm not trying to steal from anybody, because then at the end of the day, you're still a thief, even if it's for good intentions. You still can't take away from the ones who have earned it, even if they earned it in the bad way. They'll get their retribution, but that's not for you to decide. But doing that kind of stuff and having to live that way, I remember burying cable lines when I was 33, and I'm working 16-hour days. It's hot as fuck outside, 7 days a week just to try to make it, and not having anything to eat. And I'd have to rely on Speedway points from filling my gas tank on if I was going to eat. And then to get home, you know, it was just, but that is what grew me into who I am now. Now I'm 41. I have more than I could ever hope for. I have more than I could have ever desired. But it's because of that struggle for the last 11 years. You know, trying to make something better. You know, I had a credit score that didn't even register credit. It was like under 500. When I looked at my credit score, it said, you don't even deserve to look at it. It's so low, we can't even measure it. You know, so now it's near 800. You know, I have no issues with anything. I don't like to take credit. I live a debt-free life. I don't want loans. I don't want in my credit cards. Dave Ramsey would hate me. But, you know, I have credit cards. because I like my credit cards, because I don't like to have money on hand necessarily, because I don't want to carry, and I don't want a lot of money in the bank, which is what me and him disagree with. Like, I'm not letting the bank hold shit. If I have investments, 401k, whatever, or no, I don't have 401, but my IRA, but I like to do it a different way. I don't trust the bank at all. I have less than $5,000 at any given time in the bank. I do not trust them. So when I say I don't want to take out cash from my crypto exchange, I don't want to take it out. So that's why I do the crypto Visa debit card. Gives you another layer of having prepaid. Obviously, I have to do it through crypto.com and yada yada, the pain in the ass, but I'm not buying and selling there. The only thing I have is CRO. But I set my CRO from another exchange because I wasn't going to buy it through there. And then I locked it up. And I think I have like 30, 40,000 CRO that I don't even remember I have. I never remember until I get an alert saying it's up or down. I always forget with purchases, you get them for free. It's kind of like when you have a credit card. And they also have a credit card there too that I have. You can pay with crypto through it. So if you hate not being able to pay your credit card with crypto, well, you can do it with crypto.com with your money in your exchange. So things are changing. We're going digital slowly but surely. But you got to adapt to the exchanges that you think will be there and have some kind of utility. Like crypto.com is the stock market. Would I trade it? Hell no. Am I trading crypto on there? Hell no. I'm not giving them free money. But they have utility for me to use something like that. But you got to play the game. You got to have their, you got to have some CRO, have it worth their skin in their game. So I got like, who the hell knows how much, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 with a CRO, too much. But it's allowed me to get to my level of card that I aspire to have, which is the Ruby card. And I said my piece, see the 222? So, okay, I want to read through what some of you said here. Yeah, Shane, I'll try to get the quant. I want to go outside with my son, so the quant stuff would be, any further TA is going to be tonight, because my son went back outside. We're already at an hour. I'm going to get through the comments here, and then I'm going to go play with my son. We only get so much time on this earth, and we only get so many times at each stage, so I try to fully embrace it. And I'm very saddened today to hear about Hulk Hogan. Seeing Theo died in real life was also, it hit me hard, because I've been watching him in his personal triumph, and the guy, he went through a lot of shit as a child star, and it's like, it's sad to see some of those guys that couldn't quite, it's too early, man. Man, oh man. Yeah, what made me buy more quality foods, one, is because I started to understand what was used in, I can't get into this much because I'll get banned, but I started to realize ingredients. But early on, my grandpa Spica, who came from Italy, he lived in Sterling Heights, had a normal backyard, not very big, fenced around, a bunch of neighbors. You know, like the Italians, and everybody came in the Sterling Heights, or came, even where you guys live, you have the small backyards. But what he did, he made one crucial mistake, and I'll tell you, and then ultimately I think, when I meet him in the next life, I'm going to say, Grandpa, I wish I would have been older, and I could have enlightened you into the chemicals of what was in this weed killer and all that, and everybody should stay away from it. Please, Roundup and all that, please. You're sending yourself, I can't say anymore. But that was his one mistake. But then again, he was also in the militia in Italy, and he was exposed in the factories to a lot of different tainted chemicals. But then I seen his daughter, my Auntie Ann, rest in peace, who died of cancer a couple years ago, and I always link that back to it. So I always worry about things like that. But anyhow, that's part of it. But my grandpa had a garden in the backyard, which is why I think I have my garden in my backyard. I'm going to update you guys on it today. I'm going to go around and video record it when I go outside, and you'll see a release in a little bit. But I've got eggplant and tomato. I got all this stuff growing now. And you can see the eggplant, too. It's so cool. But that's why I did what I did in the backyard. My grandpa taught me how to do it all. He unfortunately passed away in 2001. Only at 78 years old, unfortunately. My aunt was only 64 or 65, so that sucks. And she was my spiritual aunt, so lost some guidance. But he taught me how to grow in the garden. He used to rototill it and do everything. He had rows like you would see in a field, except in his backyard. And he dedicated about 60% of his backyard to this garden. He built it up on a much nicer than mine. Built it up in the wooden step up like it was 3 feet off the ground. He did it himself. Beautiful engineering that I could only dream to have those kind of hands. But yeah, that's why. That's why. Just confirmed the Hulkster died. See, that sucks. I was hoping beyond hope that was fake. Let me read through these. I need to go outside. Tom, you're the essential American success story in the making. Modest beginnings, hard worker, earning what he has. Soon to be among the 90% of American millionaires who did not inherit their... I believe that. I know that's going to happen. I'm not exactly ready for it because I don't necessarily want that much money. But even if I don't do anything else, the investments I have, the precious metals and things I know, there's no choice but to go where it's going to go. I mean, it's just going to happen by virtue. And I think I've been guided by the Lord and Savior himself. But I wanted to create abundance for all during the process. That's why I always say if nobody followed, it would be historical evidence or historical data that at least I tried. And fortunately, we've got 45,000 people. Everybody, I understand, keep leaving because this is the exit interview like I like to do. We exit. Calvin says, I hear you, Tom. Struggle bus is real. Family of 5, single income, but no complaints. Everyone is healthy. Yep. Same here, single income, only my own. Since Julie's serious injury, disability for whatever reason has continuously forwarded it for like 4 years now, and she's clearly disabled. She was just on the line for a huge promotion. She was interviewing for it, and she would have ran basically her whole, oh my God. It was the next day after the accident, which is the craziest part. But I think God slowed us down because I wouldn't be here in front of you. And Julie, even though it's not the same as it was because she can't move and she might be not so happy because she can't work out the way she wants or she can't walk as much and she might be self-conscious, but she can gain 8,000 pounds. I don't care. She can walk around like Yokozuna. She's beautiful anyway. That's not even why I love her. You know, it's her personality and it's her mind. Her beauty is part of, that helps, but I don't care. That doesn't bother. I don't care if you're fat, skinny, that doesn't matter to me. It's what's up here. So that whole thing doesn't even matter. So I always have to try to explain to her, like, I couldn't give a rat's ass about that. When we first met, I was like, I didn't look like this. I was a lot bigger than I am. Well, not like huge, but you guys remember me in 21 when I started. I didn't look like this. So, and I weighed myself yesterday. I was 168 pounds. With the muscle I have, I've never been under 170. Even when I was in the best of my shape and I didn't have muscle like this. So when I seen 160, I'm like, holy shit. Like, I was like, holy crap, this whole thing is working. The 16 hours a day of fasting, incorporating even my protein being no ingredients added, none. Instead of eating peanut butter, I eat peanut butter powder. Instead of drinking pop, I don't even drink. I might take a sip of Julie's when I open it. Like a small sip just to get the taste. But I legitimately drink water all day. And I walk everywhere instead of driving if I can. It's just the simple changes. Going to the gym for almost 4 years and doing the fasting the way I've done for 3.5 almost. This Halloween will be 4 years. I did it 1 or 2 weeks before the Halloween of 2022 in October. Is when I decided I seen these free weights in CVS with Julie's mom. And I said, okay. And that decision has turned it into what it is now. It seems so simple then to pick up some cheap weights. But that one action led to dedication. And now we're at 4 years later almost. It always takes one action. Just like with crypto, it takes one action. If you missed on XRP, it takes one action to look from XRP, the last XRP one I have right there, to look 2 down to XDC or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up to IOTA. The best way I can explain it, if you don't know anything, IOTA is a mainframe token for the Internet of Things with all of your smart devices, smart everything. Smart cities, smart houses, smart everything. XDC is like XRP, and it's got the whole R3 Corda at its disposal. If you don't know what that means, take a look. It's got so many different connections. It's a crime, a real crime that it's at 8.7 cents. That's all the time, though. I got to talk about all of this. Yeah, and I don't use any kind of weed killer. I love nature. So I love the weeds. I embrace them. My wheatgrass is starting to grow the little pods now, so I'm about to get my real... I'm going to show you guys in the video. I've got oats growing. I've got flaxseed. I've got... and I'm so passionate about it. I've got my winter wheat growing. And then obviously I got my peach tree and my apple trees and my pear trees that look like ass right now because it's first year, and cherry trees and walnut tree. I'm turning this into an oasis. I walk around every day and said, why aren't there any trees besides the useless trees? They always plant these stupid trees. Why don't they plant fruit trees? Hello? Oh, the animals are going to get in the way. The animals are there regardless. Shut up. That's such a bad excuse. But we deal with the rats. Why? Because Chinese use them for the Chinese food. Well, not the Chinese, but the Chinese restaurants. Oh, we all know the difference between chicken and rat meat.